About this time of day, I like to come in here to my secret hideaway and get a nice sugary snack just before we go on air. So, just tape and stuff in there. Nothing in there. I normally keep them in. Oh, curse you, Jane! Curse you! Hola, ¿cómo estás? Day 64, time is 7:32. Welcome, my friends, to Big Brother's Little Brother. I hope very well. On today's show, I am going to be getting survival tips for our housemates from swashbuckling adventurer Benedict Allen. There he is, look at him. Rubbish disguise. That's definitely him, I can tell that. Whilst Nikki Hamilton-Jones is also here.
Hey.
Hello, Nikki. Lovely to have you with us.
Gordon, thank you.
Wonderful. She's telling us who could, and indeed who already is, looking 10 years younger. But we kick off the show, my friends, as we always do. Look, one of the big news, get out. There was a touch of optimism amongst the housemates at 9:48 this morning when they were woken up by madness in their house. Oh, no change there, then. Let's take a look.
But it's obviously not a house of fun at the minute.
It's going to be fun later.
I want a grungy task. What a muddy task.
It is. It's going to sound like that, isn't it?
Like fun house.
House of fun, yeah.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
This morning, Susie's housemates lay sleeping with rumbling tums while she sat happily in the garden, munching away on several biscuits and subbing her morning cuppa. Little did she know, however, the others were cottoning on to her hoarding, yes, I said hoarding ways. At 11:58 today, Spiral was telling tales. Take a look.
She'd about that much of it. About that much of it, which I'd class as nearly a half a bag, because a bag of sugar is that. So it's nearly a half a bag of sugar beside her bed, and she's telling us that she's no sugar. Why should she hold on to the bag of sugar? Someone explained that to me, why she gets to hold on to the bag of sugar. Everyone appreciates what the woman has done and all the baking she's done, and she's a very nice woman, and I have a lot of respect for the woman, but why should she hold on to the sugar? It doesn't make sense.
You'd eat it, that's the reason why, young man. Lack of food has been an ongoing problem for the housemates this week. Good-looking chap, though, wasn't he? However, at 12:51 this afternoon, Aisling shows that it's quality, not quantity, that really matters. Take a look. Curse you.
What is that? It's rotten. I've just swapped my potato for someone's tomato, thinking that I'd have 2 tomatoes, and my tomato is rotten. It's fungus. Please, please sort me out a tomato, proper one. Yay! Thank you.
Big Brother examined the previous tomato and found it to be of inferior quality.
Told you. Told you.
That was Little Brother's big news. Earlier today, the Big Brother task team were hard at work creating the latest despicable ordeal to put the housemates through. The man here is the evil puppeteer pulling the strings. He just appeared from nowhere. Please welcome onto the show for the very first time, task producer Chris Curley.
Dermot, nice to see you. Thank you very much.
Here's on the show, better many of us. At last. Now listen, we had your task colleague, the beautiful Harriet Jane, on BBLB a couple of times before. Is it true you've also appeared on Songs of Praise?
I have to confess, third Sunday of Advent, 1983. Manchester Boys Choir, Holly Jolly Christmas.
Oh, was that the hymn, Holly
That
Jolly
was the hymn,
Christmas?
Holly Jolly Christmas.
I don't know.
I can still remember it, but
Is it
I'm not-
Anglican?
It's Catholic.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
should
know.
you
Holly
should know
Jolly
that,
Christmas.
mate.
I
You
should
should
be
know that.
ashamed of myself. OK, what's happening in the world of Big Brother tasks today?
Today has been a weekly shopping task, which they are desperate for, of course, to win. It's Big Brother's Unfair Fun Fair. It's a fun fair which is unfair.
OK, talk us through it a little bit.
Well, there's about 6 obstacles. Housemates have to negotiate through loads of kind of gunk and stuff. It's like 2,500 litres of basically mess.
OK, is it animal mess or...?
I checked personally and there was no animals involved.
Good work, Chris Curly Chops. Let's take a look at how the task was magically put together. So what kind of stuff do they have to contend with when they're in there? Because this is the big deal, isn't it?
I mean, this is the Big Brother's biggest ever assault course. It's big tradition, and there's like
Tell me how much kashish it cost, or not?
No.
Ah, did it cost buku kashish?
It costs money, a lot of money, well spent though, and every last penny was spent wisely.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do anything daft like
No,
that.
I don't doubt that.
There's a huge slide, there's monkey bars to climb through, there's a long balance beam to go through. A tunnel of love is my personal favourite assault course item.
So it was, oh, good Lord, look at the size
See,
of
it's
it.
actually coming out now as we speak.
Look at that.
That's actually a part of the stairway to hell.
OK.
Yeah, and it is hell.
OK, let's have a look at the moment they discovered it.
Look at Richie Man! Oh my God!
Who were good and who was rubbish? Because it happened earlier on, didn't it?
It happened literally half an hour ago. Richard was absolutely fantastic. He was the... Oh, careful. That's a lot of gunk. Richard was amazing. He was the only housemate to successfully complete the assault course without any penalties whatsoever.
Sexual terrorist. A lot of training in that.
Obviously put him into good stead. Susie, of course, well, let's just say she could have done a little bit better.
Okay.
She was clearly the worst housemate. And even Jane was much better than her with her dodgy knee.
Chris Curly Chops, can you tell me whether they passed or not?
Basically, as normal housemates do a lot of rule breaking, this is no different with this task. So we are looking back at the tapes, and it's touch and go as to whether they eat next week.
Another housemates, meaning Jane.
Not actually Jane. All of them this time pretty much had some kind of rule break. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure, as always.
Make me a channel
Take care.
of your peace. So the last couple of days, Michael and Jane seem to have finally turned up for the party, and about time too. But who are they? Oh, Michael and Jenny. Sorry, Jane's been at the party for a while. But who are they? With that in mind, today's call BBLB can only be Michael and Jenny. Who is he stroke she? Give us a call. I'm disappearing now. Our next guest is best known for his grueling expeditions to remote corners of the globe, which seems it's only fitting, therefore, to interview him right next to the house in the wilds of our gardens. Benedict Allen, how are you, Benedict? Nice to see you again. You well?
Little camp here, it's good.
Do you like my
Wall
disguise?
paint. Yep. It's all
Brilliant
cool jungle man.
Now, you have survived great hardship on your expeditions. How does your experience compare with the housemates this week?
Totally different. It just is different. And my very first expedition, I had to walk 11 days without any food at all, and I was starving. And I decided, really, do I want to see my mum and dad again or not? And that decision was important because I had only one thing to eat, and that was my dog.
Yes.
And I had to eat my dog.
Yes.
It was a bad day that day, especially for the dog.
Of course it was.
Really bad day for the dog.
You had to live.
Yeah, and I think we all would do that. It was, you know, you have to think to yourself in these situations.
The one thing about Big Brother, yeah, we obviously really enjoy working on it and watching it and stuff, but they'd have no idea about the outside world, and the little
There's that
hardships are
rat.
obviously magnified.
There's that little brother, that little rat. They could have eaten that.
What would you have done with the rat?
You could, all this stuff. You could put a bit of tomato on the rat, carrot.
OK, well, listen, let's go through the rationing to start with. This is their ration for 1 day. So this is essentially on basic rations. This is what they get each day. Is that a feast?
It is a feast. I mean, I think what happens is that if you're living in that world, little things become incredibly important to you. And I think Susie is playing this sort of dangerous game. She's got a stash, and she's saying this is for the goodness of everyone, I suppose. But once people discover that stash, they realise that you can't really sort of trust her.
Does someone have to be mothered, though?
Yeah, I mean, what you've got to do in that situation is round up everyone and say, look, we have got a problem here. We've got limited resources, and you've got to trust me, because if you don't, you know, we're going to start biting each other.
I think she's tried to make an effort to do that, but just people aren't buying it.
Yeah,
just
but
because
they've got to trust someone, and she's the good person to trust, and she should say to them, look, if you don't trust me, trust someone you all
doesn't
elect.
help. Like in the news today, we saw her going out and eating biscuits outside. That's not...
That is naughty, and yeah.
Okay,
That is a problem.
So listen, what would you do with this? Because, I mean, you're sort of scoffing when you look at this, I suppose, and you're just thinking, well, that is a feast, isn't it?
It's good nutritional stuff. There's not much sugar, so they're going to be pining for sugar, cakes and that sort of thing, but these are nutritional things, and it's quite interesting. During the war, people were forced to eat these sort of rations, just like this. And actually, people ended up much healthier than before.
Sure.
So this is
some pasta, some chickpeas, rice, some porridge oats here, lentils here. Is it 2 types of flour, I guess?
2 types of flour and
pretty good fruit and veg, really.
You've got your 5 vegetables a day. You make that tea bag work for 5 or 6 cups of tea. They're probably not recycling their tea bags. They could do that. And another thing is saving any food they leave and so on.
And of course, very close to my heart, a potato. So that's just going to go under for later on.
You can do all sorts of things with that.
Well, how long would you survive on this?
Yeah, well, indefinitely. I mean, it was quite interesting. You saw Glyn the other day, really hungry. In the middle of the night, he got up to make some porridge, and he burnt it, unfortunately. But while he was doing that, he got on the exercise machine, so he's actually using up energy that he needs.
Shouldn't have been doing that.
Shouldn't have been doing that. He should have just sat back and I don't know, had his porridge.
Burnt porridge and gone to bed.
Yeah, but
does sleeping help when you're just hungry all the time? Is that
what they need to do is try and occupy their mind.
I was going to say, how could they cope with this situation better?
They've got to sit round and talk about it, because at the moment they're getting on each other's nerves. They're starting to suspect that Susie's cheating and that sort of thing. And someone has got to say, look, who are you going to trust amongst us all? We're going to have an election, and maybe Richard would be the one they trust, I don't know.
Okay.
But they've got to decide amongst themselves. And when they've done that, they can give out the rations. And the other thing is they've got to accept the situation. Big Brother is not going to start handing out cakes. And it was accepting that situation that made me have to eat my dog. I didn't want to eat my dog, obviously, and the dog didn't want me to eat him either. But nonetheless, I had to, and it was a life and death situation. That's much easier. It's very interesting here because things become incredibly important to you.
Little things.
Yeah, I remember in the jungle guarding my tomato ketchup, and this is when I was with people, because I began thinking everyone wants my tomato ketchup, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But it was just...
So it's the little things. Brilliant. Benedict, lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on again. Now it's time to see where our marauding Moggy is strayed to this week through the cat flap. Meow. Who's else mine today, then? Oh, that was hard. Oh, my eyes, it's blinding me eyes. It's all black and white to me anyway. Right, what's in there? I'll have a little look around. No immediate giveaways, but see if I can jump off on this bed. There's 3 chairs there. Does that tell me anything? No. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me get down and get up on this desk. That's more like it. Up we go. Oh, computer. Books about theology. Oh, interesting. Now then, who's going around the corner here? Oh, nice looking kitchen. Oh, what's up there? Oh, it's a little buddy of mine. Hello there. I know you had the cats. Right, let's down here. Have a look at this lovely shag pile carpet. Oh, I'm going to have a roll over and... Oh, schluffed it high. Ah, from dead dogs to live cats. What a show it is today. After the break, we find out whose home that was, and from Telly's 10 years younger, lovely Nikki Hamilton-Jones, who's given our housemates an image MOT. But first, here's another pearl of wisdom from our Nikki. Today, her wrath is unleashed on public transport.
I won't do it.
I don't like buses because they smell and you have to pay. It's like £1.20 and you could get a cab for that much sometimes. And I get on, I call them peasant wagons because they're just filled with peasants. And the stench, and I'll sit, like, always as far away from the window so that no one can come and sit next to me. But then someone always does, and they're always smelly.
Back inside in the sauna. Welcome back to Big Brother's Little Brothers. Day 64. The time is 7:51. Whose house was that?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm Michael's friend. Welcome to Michael's flat. This is the flat he shares with his sister Mary. As you know, Michael's quite spiritual, so he's a bit of a minimalist and doesn't have very much stuff. So he basically just steals all his sister's stuff. This is Michael's wardrobe. Doesn't have too many clothes for a gamer. Big full-length mirror for Michael to pose in. Michael's only allowed 1 bath a week because his sister pays all the hot water bills. This is the lounge, which doubles as Michael's room. Michael sleeps in the corner here. He uses this area as a study area. Quite a funky kitchen. When he's on his protein health kick, he eats this rather yummy tin stewed steak. This is a picture of the real Scruples, Michael's parents' cat. Obviously, he's got a stuffed version in the house because Big Brother don't allow pets. That's about it. Thanks for coming. I'll show you out.
We've had the in and outs of the jungle-style survival down to a T. It's time to move on to something far more serious, the housemates' images. Please welcome the Madame of the Makeover, Nikki Hamilton-Jones. Nikki, it's lovely to meet you. Thanks so much for coming on.
No, it's lovely to be here.
On Friday night, as always, all of the housemates had their eviction outfits on. But on last Friday was very special because they all had their eviction outfits on, apart from Jane, because they were all up. Who scrubbed up the best, do you think?
Well, you know what? If you hadn't known they were all up for eviction, you wouldn't have known, because most of them didn't really make an effort. I mean, absolutely.
Let's take a look. Talk us through this.
Well, Jenny just looks really casual. I mean, she does not look dolled up for eviction.
She looks quite pretty.
She looks pretty, but to me, she's just not... If I was going out for eviction, I'd really want to make a statement. I'd really want to be noticeable. I actually thought Nikki looked great. You know, I really liked the way Nikki looked. She looked very twiggy, she had great makeup, and she's quite cute and quite sassy. I quite like those.
Who didn't look good there? You don't like Ashleen?
I can't stand that dress. What is up with that dress?
You see, I'm sure I'm not speaking from a man's point of view, but it is a kind of...
What point of view are you?
Well, it's a kind of curious dress, because you do watch it, and because guys don't know how to wear a dress like that, we do look at it and we kind of go, aside from the obvious, you kind of go, how does that dress stay on?
Exactly, we're all wondering that fact. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does make a statement, and it is memorable, for sure. But I just think she's got a great figure, and it's just not doing anything for her, and it's just showing off all the wrong bits, really.
OK. Is there you're best for helping people look 10 years younger. Is there anyone in the house you'd like to give the treatment to?
Well, I would have loved to get the treatment to Leah, but she's not there anymore.
Sure.
I mean, I'd say Susie.
OK, Susie first. We've got a shot of Susie here. What's wrong with Susie? Because Susie's a quite pretty woman.
She's a pretty woman, and actually she looks good for her age. She doesn't actually need to be made 10 years younger. I just think she's looking a little bit haggard, and it doesn't quite go. She comes across...
This is my in-fear face, so you carry on talking.
OK. You know what it is? Since being in the house, she's starting to look a lot more haggard. Too much sun exposure, her hair's starting to look dry and fried, and those boobs just don't go with the posh, motherly image she's trying to put across. It just doesn't work.
I'm never a big fan of fake whammers, but what about, what could you do with her? What would you do with her? Because she is, like I said, I mean, the basics are there. She's a good-looking woman.
She's a really good-looking woman, and I think the first thing is she needs to get some gloss back in her hair and maybe some colour just to rich it up, because that's really draining the colour out of her face. And also, you know, get some sun protection factor on, so you're not drying your skin out. So
next up, Jane. You want to talk about Jane too, right? Let's have a shot of Jane. What would you do with Jane, and where's she going wrong there?
Where do you start? I mean, I think Jane's biggest problem is she comes across as quite a masculine girl, but she tends to live in black, and she's got quite a boxy figure, and just head to toe black is just making it look like a square. You know, it's not working. We want curves, but, you know, tight is not the way to go.
What should she go then?
I think colour. You know, she's got a big personality. Go for some colour. Go for something softer, more feminine. You know, she does not have good legs. You know, don't flaunt your worst bits. Go for your best bits. She's got a great face. Go for something softer and perhaps a little bit longer. And just, you know, trousers or something.
Lastly, you want to talk about Glyn as well, don't you? Because Glyn's the biggest transformation, you think, since... we've got a split screen there. Glyn looking like something from Deliverance on the left, and Eminem on the right.
He's looking great.
I mean, is the right a better look than the left?
He definitely looks more cool, more sexy now than he did before. He just looked like a spotty teenager
Well, he looks, as well as that, he's got that confidence now.
Absolutely. It's just great. He's really come...
What should he do now? What would you do with him?
I just think he needs to get out of the T-shirt and shorts and get into something a little bit more trendy and hip. You know, he just hasn't quite moved to the hip stage yet. You know, Mikey's quite hip, and I think Glyn needs to kind of learn from him a bit.
Also, would you shave his hair off?
I like it. I definitely prefer the
like
shorter
that
crop.
bleach?
I do. No, it works because he's got a tan. It didn't work if he was that pasty white in the beginning, but now it works. I think
Lastly,
it's fine.
who you backing?
Pete.
You want Pete to win. Nikki Hamilton-Jones, everyone. Thank you, Nikki. Lovely to have you with us.
Got a big split up my bum now.
Yes, you have. Tomorrow's going to be coins for either Richard or Jane, whose time in the house is coming to a close. You know the drill. Oh, man, for this cool BBLB, we've just got to get straight into the calls. It's essentially your opinions on Michael and Jenny. Sue in Cornwall's first up. Hey, Sue, how you doing?
Hi, fine, thanks.
What do you think? They've turned up for the party now, haven't they?
Oh, wow, have they just, yeah. I mean, I think Aisling hit it right on the nose with Jenny. Her age just lets her down, bless her. She's a sweet little thing, but she needs to calm down, chill out a little bit. But she's got lots and lots of potential.
What about Mikey? Michael, rather. Do you think he can...
Oh, he's so sneaky, that bloke is so sneaky. Sly, you know, you can tell he's getting on the nerves now.
Okay.
He's certainly getting on my nerves.
Michael doesn't seem to wear much. Have you got any comment about his style?
Yeah, and he should
should
wear more. He hasn't got the baseball. No.
Okay. Thanks, Sue.
I don't tend to look at Michael much in that way. I find him a little bit eerie.
Glad to hear it, Sue. Lastly, Kelly in Sunderland, just very briefly. What do you think, Kelly?
Hiya. I'm really pleased that Michael's in the Big Brother house because he's like a breath of fresh air.
Okay.
And I can really relate to him in several different ways.
You can?
I can, believe it or not.
Thanks, Kelly. It's good for your call. Sorry, that's all we've got time for. Take care. Thanks to Felix and, of course, Nikki Hamilton-Jones.
Yay!
Big Brother tonight, straight after Russell and Neeful. We are back tomorrow with the Viccioni. God bless, bye-bye.